Thank you, Costa, for unpacking that exhibition for us, or just truly a small portion of a vast exhibition, which I hope many of you will visit countless times. Our next speaker today is Babatunde Lawal, and it's my pleasure to introduce him. He's the professor of art history at Virginia Commonwealth University in Richmond, Virginia. Babatunde holds an MA and PhD in art history from Indiana University, Bloomington, and specializes in African, African American, and African diaspora art, with a personal research focus on the ancient and contemporary arts of Nigeria, especially the visual culture of the Yoruba and its influences in the Americas. He has conducted fieldwork in Africa, the Caribbean, United States, and Brazil, and has published widely on the topic of Yoruba art, in addition to presenting papers, chairing sessions, and delivering keynote addresses at international conferences within and outside the United States. While teaching at VCU, Babatunde has also served as visiting professor at Dartmouth College, Columbia University, Harvard University, Williams College, and the State University of Bahia, Salvador, Brazil, among others. He gave the inaugural faculty lecture for the 2013-14 academic year at the University of Sao Paulo, Brazil, under the auspices of its graduate program in art history and aesthetics. Apart from contributing essays and entries to exhibition catalogs, he has served as a consultant for major museums, such as the British Museum, the Boston Museum of Fine Arts, the Smithsonian National Museum of African Art, the Newark Museum, the Detroit Institute of Arts, the Chrysler Museum of Art, the Seattle Art Museum, the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts, and the High Museum of Art in Atlanta, among others. Babatunde was a member and on the board of directors for the Art Council of the African Studies Association from 1999 to 2003, and has been on the editorial boards of leading journals such as the Art Bulletin, CAA Reviews, 19th Century Art Worldwide, Critical Interventions, and Journal of Nigerian Studies. Excuse me. He has also received several grants, including fellowships from the Hazen Foundation, Crest Foundation, and Smithsonian Institution. Today, he will lecture on Iwa Ati Ewa, the concept of beauty among the Yoruba of West Africa. Please join me in welcoming Babatunde Lawal.
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, my presentation today is a revised and expanded version of the lecture I gave on April 4, 2013 at Yale University, New Haven, Connecticut. So I wish to thank the Council of African Studies at Yale, Yale's Macmillan Center for International and Area Studies. I also want to thank Dr. Frederick Lamb, who was formerly the Francis and Benjamin Benenson Foundation Curator of African Art at Yale University, for inviting me to give the lecture. So thank you, Mr. Lamb. Yeah, today I'm going to talk about Iwa, meaning character in Yoruba, Ati Ewa, and beauty. That is the interconnectedness of ethics and aesthetics among the Yoruba. They number about 25 million people and inhabit present-day republics of Nigeria, Benin, and Togo. By the middle or by the beginning of the second millennium, Ile-Ife, their cultural capital, Their capital is Ife there. Ife, their cultural capital, had become a major urban center with highly sophisticated religion, social and political institutions. Under the patronage of the king, Ooni, and his chiefs, artists created works ranging from monoliths sculptures in stone dating between the 11th and the 12th century of the Common Era, as well as naturalistic and highly stylized works. The naturalistic representations allude to the visible self, whereas the stylized one to the metaphysical selves. So they perform different functions in Yoruba culture. The Yoruba frequently use visual and performing arts for ritual, didactic, and entertainment purposes. Since the oral tradition abounds in maxims, aphorisms, metaphors, ironies, euphemisms, and proverbs, I'll be citing some of them in this presentation to help throw more light on the interconnectedness of ethics and aesthetics in the culture. This nexus also resounds in the popular saying, Iwa Lewa, character determines beauty. In other words, just as the external appeal of an individual must match his or her inner worth, that of an object should resonate in its effectiveness in use. So it is not enough for an object to look attractive, especially a functional object. It must perform its function well. The Yoruba terms for character, Iwa, and beauty, Ewa, not only derive from the root verb, wa, to exist, but also draw attention to their belief that an individual has two aspects, namely, Ewa Inu, inner beauty, associated with one's behavior, and Ewa Ode, outer beauty, tied to physical appearance. This nexus has deep roots in Yoruba theology, which conceptualizes the cosmos as a big calabash, Igbaiwa, with two halves. The top half signifies the sky and maleness, Ako, and then the bottom half, the primordial waters below the sky, femaleness, Abo, a vital force, Ashe, emanating from a supreme being, Olodumare, is thought to sustain the calabash in space, in addition to enabling the waters below the sky to flow, the wind to blow, as well as the sun and moon to shine, among others. Hence, this omnipresent being, Olodumare, also bears the name Alashe, source of Ashe, the enabling power, and then Oluiwa, the Lord of existence, an epitome of character. Unlike the supreme beings of other African cultures, Olodumare rarely creates directly and instead acts through many male and female deities called Orisha, who personify different aspects of Ashe, the enabling power of this present one. So we can see concept of Ashe. In fact, in some African American churches, Ashe, let it be, is beginning to replace Amen, because Ashe is that enabling power. If you believe you can fly, you will. If you say, I believe I can fly, I believe I can touch the sky, if you believe it, you will. In short, there are over 400 deities in the Yoruba pantheon. For example, Yemaja, the Great Mother, personifies the power of the primordial waters. Onile, the alter ego of Yemaja, is the land. So earth and land are two aspects of Mother Nature or Mother Earth. Obatala personifies artistic creativity. Ogun, the power of iron tools and weapons. Orisha Oko, agriculture. Shango, thunderstorms, and so on and so forth. According to Yoruba cosmology, on deciding to create the land below the sky, the Supreme Being, Olodumare, gave one of the deities, Oduduwa, a bag of sand and a bird with which to perform the task. Oduduwa then descended from the sky with a chain. See the chain tied to the waist there. And then he descended from the sky with that iron chain, poured the sand on the primordial waters, and released the bird. The latter spread the sand in all directions, eventually creating Earth, later personified as Mother Earth, Iyaye. After receiving reports that the newly created land was hard enough and ready for habitation, Olodumare reportedly commissioned the creativity deity Obatala to mold human figures, ere eniyan, from clay. Olodumare later animated the images by breathing life force Ashe into their heads and placing them in the womb of Mother Earth, that is the lower half of the calabash, otherwise called the womb of the Great Mother. So that is lower half, to be delivered as babies. No wonder the Yoruba metaphorically regard earthly existence. So, in fact, you can see on the left, Yemaja, Mother of the Waters, the Great Mother, and on the right, Earth Goddess. There are two aspects. And then you can see the Earth Goddess holding a pair of male and female figures. So she's the nurturer in the physical world. No wonder the Yoruba regard earthly existence, Iwa, as a kind of performance in time and space. So the human body is a kind of kinetic sculpture empowered by the rhythm generated by the soul, and me, another form of Ashe. So the earthly mission of humanity, since the human body era is metaphorically a work of art that makes its invisible soul visible on earth, that is, it has an ontological value, the Yoruba word for humanity, eniyan, is teleological, being a contraction of the phrase àwọn tí a yàn láti lọ tún ilé ayé ṣe, the species enjoined to transform the primordial wilderness below the sky into an orderly estate that it is today. There's a small typo there. According to one myth, Olodumare created the archetypal human image for this purpose before asking Obatala to put on finishing touches and follow up with replicas. Thus, the word Eniyan not only identifies the human body as a divinely intelligent form, but also implies that the capacity to create and appreciate art is an integral part of humanity. It accounts for the aesthetic impulse in sculpture, architecture, body adornment, music, and dance, among others. Also worth mentioning here is the legend that some of the principal deities, including Obatala, the creativity deity himself, assumed the same human form in order to accompany the first mortals from heaven to the newly created land below the sky. Some Orisha allegedly became rulers of certain towns during their sojourn on earth, intermarrying with humans who now venerate them as divine ancestors. Others miraculously disappeared, leaving behind images or non-figurative symbols through which descendants could communicate with them in the spirit world. Such legends soon gave rise to a tendency among the Yoruba to regard culture heroes as supernatural beings who incarnated in human bodies in order to help lay the foundation for what is now Yoruba culture. In the opinion of some Yoruba diviners, Babalawo, the variety in human appearance is due to the Supreme Being's interest in diversity. And in fact, you have Batala on the left and his wife. When displayed in public, these images are covered because they are regarded as sacred. So, in the opinion of some diviners, variety in human appearance is due to the Supreme Being's interest in diversity, an interest said to be apparent in the popular adage, oríṣiríṣi èlò ni ó mú ọbẹ̀ dùn. Assorted ingredients make the soup sweeter. Others attribute the heterogeneity to the artistic license enjoyed by Obatala, the artist. This license echoes in his nickname, Adani Botiri, he who creates as he wishes. The deity is also renowned for occasional drinking bouts, during which he would create images of cripples, hunchbacks, albinos, and other people with deformities. That nickname also explains why it is customary among the Yoruba to greet a pregnant woman with the prayer, Ki Òrìṣà ya ọ̀nà fúnni, may Obatala fashion for us a good work of art. And when a woman is pregnant, she's advised to dress well, put on cosmetics and so on and so forth, because Obatala will use your taste to decide the type of child to give you. And if you are traveling by Amtrak and an ugly person is sitting in front of you, look the other way. And so on and so forth. Hence, when a woman has a good baby, if you say, thank God, Modupe, Ono Yemi, art befits me, and so on and so forth. So you can see that. So let us look at the dialectics of outer and inner beauty. Since it has to do with physical features such as height, complexion, and bearing, which may also be augmented with cosmetics, clothing, and jewelry. Physical beauty Ewaude is metaphorically a mask, a circular mask, that commands attention and admiration. The Yoruba aesthetic canon requires an ideal male to be tall, well-built, shigmole, well-complexioned, Lawal, good-looking, arewa. And then the female counterpart should have good features, except that those features should be feminine, including pretty bust, buttocks, and so on and so forth. But many Yoruba prefer average beauty. This is because both strikingly beautiful and ugly spouses are subject to stares and gossips. Moreover, paragons of beauty, Adarabi Egbin, are often targets of many admirers, prone to unstable and short-lived marriages. Indeed, Yoruba folktales abound with references to strange creatures in the forest, including animals capable of transforming themselves into beautiful women when in danger of being killed by hunters. Captivated by this beast incarnate, some hunters end up marrying them, only to regret their indiscretion later. There are also rumors that certain witches can change into beautiful women in order to trap victims, while others have the capacity to bear attractive daughters who will inherit their occult powers. Hence the warning in the following two proverbs. Enife arewa, ofe yonu. He who marries beauty marries trouble. And gbogbo ohun tó ń dán kọ́ ni wúrà. Not everything that shines is gold. The uncertainties of outer beauty, Ewaude, coupled with other unpredictable factors, seem to have contributed significantly to the emphasis on inner beauty, Ewainu, in Yoruba aesthetics, with regard to both people and works of art. Moreover, outer beauty is perceived as no more than a byproduct of Obatala's, that is the artist deity's, whims and caprices. Therefore, to prioritize it in Yoruba aesthetics would be tantamount to blaming the ugly ones for inborn defects they could not have prevented. Hence, the dictum, kì í ṣẹjọ́ eléyín gangan, òrìṣà ló ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀. Don't blame the person with a cleft lip. It was the artist's deity who left it like that. Those in such predicaments should not lose hope, however, because they can use good character, Iwarere, to make up for inborn defects, as is also evident in the following maxims. So I will skip the Yoruba something. See, having been created, I will recreate myself. So in other words, it is up to an individual to improve on his character. Character is like a deity. The more we cultivate it, the more it favors us. Virtues such as Iwarere, inner beauty, caution, eso, courage, ìgboyà, genteel manners, ìwà pẹ̀lẹ́, hard work, ìmúra, honesty, ìwà òtítọ́, humility, kindness, patience, perseverance, and so on and so. Wisdom, among others, are regarded as virtues that can compensate for ugliness. The importance attached to patience reverberates in the Yoruba proverbs. Sùúrù baba ìwà. Patience is the father of character. Thus, a person is called ọmọlúàbí, the well-bred, if he or she is reputed to be patient, along with other virtues that are very positive. Even if he or she does not have a perfect look, that admirers frequently ignore physical shortcomings of an ọmọlúàbí, the well-bred, is implied in the popular saying, ẹni ayé ń fẹ́ kì í lábùkù lára. A culture hero seems not to have physical defect. If he behaves well, you see more of that good behavior, and you ignore the physical defect. So it is that many ọmọlúàbí, well-behaved, are remembered long after death, which explains the use of the following song to promote good citizenship. Tọ́jú ìwà rẹ, ìwà láṣọ, ìwà lẹ́wù. Nítorí bí a bá pẹ́ láyé pẹ́pẹ́pẹ́, bí a bá dàgbà tí a lè rìn mọ́, ìjọ́ tí a bá kú, ìwà ní kù. Translation: take care of your character. Character is clothing. Character is dress. If we live long on earth, and we become too old to walk, the day we die, it is character that remains. On the other hand, a physically attractive person, arewa, but with bad character, runs the risk of being identified as ugly inside. An awobowa may be the best artist. That is, the beautiful person may be the best artist, drummer, or singer in town. The initial admiration for his or her talent and outer beauty will diminish as soon as fans learn about his or her character and discover the real person behind the mask. In other words, as a popular proverb puts it, Efiniwa, character is like smoke. You cannot cover it up. Thus, parents and relatives frequently advise a beautiful bride to rely on good character rather than physical beauty. To ensure a successful marriage. Hence, the popular saying, go with your head. That is, not with your beauty. When you marry, go with your head. And then a similar point resounds in the following song. If a child, I'm skipping the Yoruba, if a child is beautiful but has no character, that child is no more than a wooden doll. Good character adorns a person. A woman may be as beautiful as Egbara, the glossy-skinned rat. If she has no character, she's no more than a wooden doll. A man may be very, very handsome, like a fish in the water. If she has no character, he is no more than a wooden doll. In other words, the mere fact that an individual was lucky to have been given a good body by the artist deity, Obatala, or blessed with a good inner head, Orinu, will not automatically guarantee success in life. As one proverb puts it, a person born with a good inner head but lacks good character runs the risk of spoiling that asset. So let us look at inner and outer beauty in the visual arts. Dialects. Assessment of outer beauty in artistic representations is frequently based on formal qualities such as composition. You can see the divination board, very neatly done, symmetrical, there is clarity of mass, ifarahan, relative curves, and so on and so forth, meticulous delineation, relative luminosity, didon, and so on and so forth. So the artists succeed in capturing the essence of that divination trait. The Yoruba frequently use the terms Ofa Ojumora. A good work of art magnetizes the eye. Phrases such as it magnetizes the eye is there. Awonwotunwo, that which compels repeated gaze. Awomalelo, that which moors the gaze. Awoyanu, that which causes the viewer to gape, among others. As a result, emphasis is not only on visual appearance of an image, but also its utility. For instance, that divination tree may look beautiful. If it doesn't make a good prediction, then it is useless. Now, the face on top of that tray belongs to Eshu. Eshu is the divine messenger who liaises between the diviner and the cosmos. So if the diviner is able to predict well with that board on the left, that board is beautiful. And if broken, it will be repaired instead of replacing it, because it is fulfilling its function. Similarly, this staff, figural staff of the divine messenger, will be regarded as efficient if predictions easily come to pass. Those staffs will be regarded as excellent, and so on and so forth. And this is Edon Ogboni. It has to do with this a pair which is worn on the body by a priest of the mother goddess. You can see gender complementarity there. Male on the left, female on the right. The staff is very smooth, well done. The beard signifies wisdom, and so on and so forth. And if somebody is sick and is feeling, you can let him wear it. If that person is able to recover, this is a very good piece. Even if it breaks, you repair it instead of replacing it. So emphasis on functional utility, and so on and so forth. So function is an integral part of beauty in objects, just as character is relevant to the beauty of an individual. And I will just, as in other African cultures, many Yoruba priests believe in the inner worth or ritual effectiveness of an image, and that utility makes the difference Even if a chair looks good, but you cannot sit safely on it, it will crash, then avoid that chair. Similarly, if you have a carved post, it should be able to sustain the roof. If not, avoid it. And don't, as in other cultures, many Yoruba priests believe in the inner worth, and so on and so forth. As Abat Cole is somewhere here, Abat Cole puts it, materials are bearers of values in African art. Most raw materials chosen by artists are meaningful. Wood, for example, may come from trees inhabited by spirits. Masks or figures made from such wood have spiritual dimensions. The medicinal ingredients used to construct Congo power figures, I'm still quoting Cole, have wounding, healing, and transforming qualities. Lustrous gold is precious, while ivory connotes strength and endurance of elephants. Among the Yoruba, the agency of materials and images created from them also depend on incantations, prayers, and offerings accompanying their use. Given the meta-empirical functions of masks, altar figures, ceremonial staffs, and divination implements, it is difficult for a scholar to evaluate their inner beauty or ritual efficacy. However, many Yoruba priests are known to cherish ritual objects that have generated positive results. In fact, I have interacted with many priests who continue to use apparently second-rate masks, altar figures, and other accessories because they believed in their efficacy, repairing them instead of replacing when they are damaged. In other words, formal quality or the outer beauty of a ritual object is insufficient on its own. Similarly, it is not enough for a carved house post to look artistic. It must perform its function effectively as an architectural support, just as a well-carved stool, ijoko, must be stable and comfortable to sit on. Terms such as korofo, empty shell, ewa oju akara, artificial beauty, may be used to disparage attractive utilitarian objects that fall short of expectations. By and large, the reliability or effectiveness of a piece of equipment or ritual symbol easily compensates for any artistic defect in its form. Similarly, inner beauty or good character, as noted earlier, allows ugly persons to make up for inborn physical shortcomings they could not have prevented due to Obatala's creativity or artistic license. While physical or outer beauty, delights the eye, moral or inner beauty in the form of good character is a pleasure to experience. Thus, the Iwalewa paradigm denotes an eternal message. It not only encourages members of a given community to live an exemplary life, so as to be identified as the well-bred Omoluabi. It also offers equal opportunity for all to contribute to the teleological implications of humanity in as those species enjoined by the Supreme Being to transform the primordial wilderness below the sky into the orderly estate it is today. Thank you. Thank you.